But to take a look at this and just sample what his thoughts are on that particular ban. Mheshimiwa, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Now, police have cancelled with immediate effect all political rallies and processions until further notice. What are your thoughts on that?
The timing is suspect. The timing is certainly suspect because as far as we are concerned, code is deeply rooted in the respect for the rule of law. And we have been very supportive of all government measures to ensure security, because as a coalition, we want to see a more secure country, and the security of every Kenyan is a concern to us. But the activities we've been involved in as a coalition have not, by any stretch of imagination, been a threat to security. In fact, if you look at all the activities that our CORD has been involved in, the rallies in Kibera, Mlolongo, Babadogo, there hasn't been a single incident of a threat to security or a breach of the peace. And so CORD does not consider any of our activities to be a threat to security, and therefore we will continue with our activities.
It's not about the security concerns that are being posed by CORD per se, but Inspector General is quoting Public Order Act 56, which essentially gives him the right to cancel rallies. If I may quote it, that act says the regulating officer or any police officer or above rank of Inspector General may stop or prevent the holding of any public gathering or other meetings or procession which, having regard to the rights and interests of the persons participating in such gathering, meeting or procession, there is clear, present and imminent danger of breach of peace or public order. This is coming in the backdrop of security concerns that we have been witnessing in the country. Does that make sense to you?
First of all, let me also clarify that as a coalition, we have been in consultations with the Inspector General. Let every Kenyan know that none of the activities we undertake is undertaken in the dark, is undertaken in the vacuum. We consult with the security apparatus, and in fact tomorrow we are scheduled to hold a meeting with the Inspector General to discuss this matter, especially in light of the plans we have for the reception of our coalition leader on Saturday. And so, having said that, let the impression not be created that CORD has any intentions whatsoever to cause a breach of the peace. But now, when you look at that law you've just read,
yes,
that law is very specific. That law has qualifications in terms of circumstances in which the police can cancel any public gathering. But that law must also be read in the context of the Constitution. The Constitution guarantees the right to assemble, the right to associate, and the right for free public expression. And so, yes, we have that law, but that law is not superior to the Constitution. And the Inspector General, I believe, must demonstrate very good reasons that would give him the platform to uphold that law, especially in circumstances where that law or application of that law would appear or would seem to fly in the face of the Constitution.
So in your opinion, circumstances surrounding this do not warrant this?
They do not warrant. Absolutely, they do not warrant, because none of the public events that have been going on, political activities, not just by CORD, but even by our rival Jubilee Coalition, none of those activities has been demonstrated sufficiently as required by that law to be a risk to national security. And therefore, circumstances do not warrant the Inspector General to apply that law. And I would also want to ask the Inspector General that even if he had any intentions to apply that law, that application must be within the framework of the Constitution. And in this case, the Constitution is superior. And the circumstances definitely would create an impression where the Inspector General is acting in violation of the Constitution, and that's unacceptable.
All right, just stay with me. You're watching KTN Prime. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, we are talking to Ababu Namwamba on the fresh route that has greeted the ban that was imposed by the police on all political rallies. Inspector General David Kimaiyo announced that all political processions and gatherings would remain suspended indefinitely for what he called security reasons. Of course, you're speaking to Ababu Namwamba, and he makes it very clear that the circumstances surrounding this do not warrant the use of the Public Order 56, which essentially can give the Inspector General the right to cancel such rallies. Mheshimiwa, thank you for staying with us. Let's look at this practically. This country has witnessed a series of security issues. CORD is on record raising issues about insecurity in the country. Do you think he has a reason, really?
No, let me say this for the upteenth time.
Yes, do.
CORD is committed to being part of the solution and not part of the problem. We have made it very clear that we want to see the security of this country enhanced. We have made it very clear that we see two problems that have made the security situation in this country worse. One, we have pointed out intelligence, and we believe we are not deploying our intelligence apparatus and our intelligence capacity effectively to help in the fight against terror and insecurity generally. We need to invest in better intelligence, and we also need to utilize intelligence reports better. Secondly, we have made it very clear that corruption in the police force, corruption in the immigration department is a major part of the insecurity in this country. And we have asked government repeatedly, and I ask government again right now, invest in intelligence, effective intelligence, and confront corruption head-on as a way of addressing this challenge. Now, when you look at the political activities going on in this country, whether you're looking at the past elections, the run-up to the last general elections, or what has been going in the recent past with the political activities, none of them has posed any security risk. And unless the Inspector General can demonstrate sufficiently so with unimpeachable evidence and convincing reasons, one would then read mischief in this latest measure. And especially this coming at a time when we are preparing to receive our coalition leader back home, one then fears that this is draconian, and it could easily amount to a throwback to the dark ages. Remember, Kenyans have celebrated for the last 2 decades breaking the chains and throwing away the yoke of despotic rule and draconian application of the law. That Public Order Act is really part of, actually it just reminds me that it's one of the laws that we should go back to Parliament and throw out of our statute books. Because it certainly is a law that does not sit very well with constitutional guarantees of a free society.
Okay, finally, before I let you go, let's delve a little bit into the political activities of CORD. And these rallies that you're talking about are coming just days before former Prime Minister Raila Odinga gets back into the country. And as we have been seeing, the opposition has not been very vibrant. This is now coming just a few days before he comes. Does this then mean that the opposition cannot function without the former Prime Minister?
No,
that is the question that everyone is asking.
It is a question of tact. It's a question of strategy. Not every day is a Sunday, Linda. It's not, I mean, and everything happens with tempo. Okay? Everything happens with tempo. At one moment, you'll retreat to strategize, you'll retreat to plan. Next moment, you're deploying. And so really, this should tell you that you have an opposition that is agile, that is strategic, that reads the mood of the time and is able to deploy different political weapons at different times.
What sort of mood are you reading
right now? We are in a mood, in a celebratory mood. We are welcoming our coalition leader back home. But we are also in a very foul mood in the sense that we are dealing with a government that is failing the country on virtually all fronts. Security, the war on corruption, the cost of living. On basically every front, you have a government that is failing the people. And so as an opposition, we feel obligated, it's an obligation upon us to stand up and defend the public interest and put this government under pressure on its toes, if they have any toes at all, so that they can do what they must do to serve the public.
Okay, you're standing up to defend the public.
Yes.
The feeling is you're sort of putting the public in an election mode. Is that the scenario?
No, we are.
What are we looking at?
We are putting the public in a vigil mood. We want the public to keep vigil. We want the public to be alert. We want the public to be in a position where they see every single misstep, every single hiccup that this government is engaging in, so that really they can also bring pressure to bear upon this government so that this government can perform. This government preached the gospel of prosperity in the run-up to the last elections. And then every act you see is delivering the country to hell. And so the government must be placed under pressure to deliver on its promise to the people. And it's an obligation of the opposition to cue the people, to motivate the people, to line up the people so that they can demand of government what government must do, and also demonstrate that if we were to take government, as I believe we shall, sooner rather than later, we can actually do better on all these fronts.
Ababu Namwamba, Court Coalition member, Member of Parliament, Budalangi, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your opinion on that ban by Inspector General David Kimaiyo.